Hello everyone, are you ready for another adventure? It's me, Woki, and I'm back with another Fake Grand Order video. And today we're going to be talking about Pilgrimage Festival Part 6. So that's going to be today's video. I hope you like it. If you do, feel free to leave a like, comment, and subscribe because it does help out the channel a whole bunch. And now let's begin. So yeah, Pilgrimage Festival Part 6, it starts on the 11th and it will go on to the 25th. If you don't know what Pilgrimage Festivals are, they are ways for the game to bring back old free-to-play units. Usually the way that they did it in the past is that they would come back with events, and then at some point FGO said, we don't want to bring back events, so just add them to this shop where you can exchange them for evocation leaves. This time the units being added are Cha-Cha, Sakamoto Ryouma, and Nightingale Santa, and based off of this art, you would assume all three of them were based off of Christmas, because of this is amazing art here. But no, only one of them is Christmas related, and the other two are actually Gouda Gouda related. So yeah, all of them will be added along with their Ascension material and their coins. So you can get them, so you can get all their skills and also get them to level 120 if you so wish to get them that way. And there's no real rush. Every single one of them will be added to them. So if you don't have enough evocation leaves right away, eventually you will get them, especially if you're just playing daily and stuff like that. And if you want me to quickly say how I feel about these free-to-play units, I'll say that Ryouma and Nightingale are really good, and then Cha-Cha is unfortunately a very old berserker, so she has a little bit of issues with certain things around her kit. But I will say out of those three units, the only one I have Bond 10 is Cha-Cha, and I used her a whole bunch for grinding when I didn't want to think too much, just because I really liked her in general. So she's definitely still usable, probably not on the most highest difficulty things. I used her for like very effective like EXP. I think that's actually all I ever used her for, was for EXP grinding, where she was perfectly fine at that. But there you go, all three of them. Really nice to have if you like any of them and stuff like that. So also, if you don't know this, usually when we did an event came back, they would give us a rare mana prism. They don't do that anymore, but just to make note of it, you will not get a rare mana prism if you already have the 5 copies of all 3 of the units. You just won't get that again. You can also get the evocation leaves for daily missions and extra missions, and then during the campaign itself, players can obtain some more evocation leaves through daily login bonus and through limited time master missions. There's going to be a login bonus that will start from the 11th and go all the way to the 24th of November. And it goes 3 days, 4 days, 3 days, and then 4 days. There will be a login bonus that will feature Sync Quartz. So even if you should log in for every single one of these, obviously, but if you can only log in for specific days, make sure that it's at least the 13th, the 17th, the 20th, and the 24th, so that you can get a total of 10 Sync Quartz from all of them. 2 on the first day, 3 on the second day, 2 again on the third day, and then 3 again on the final day. There will be limited time campaigns, which will be 2 times EXP gained for the following servants. Like I said, Cha-Cha, Sakamoto Ryouma, and Nightingale Santa. 1/2 AP rank up quest for Cha-Cha and Sakamoto Ryouma, and then 1/2 AP campaign, 1/2 AP for all Ember Gathering daily quests. Additionally, all Ember Gathering quests will be unlocked for the duration of the campaign. And I will say this: if you really love one of these characters and you want to get them to level 120, your best chance of doing it is during these campaigns. I'm someone who did this with Samba Quets. I've had 3 units get to level 120. I don't really want to do very many more unless there's a unit I just super care about and I have enough coins for them to get there and such, because the process to get a unit to level 120 is so annoying. But I will say that during this campaign, Samba Quets took me like maybe a day or 2 to get them all the way to level 120, when previous level 120 units took me like months. And it was me planning everything out to make sure that I had enough EXP, and then that was grinding insane amount of EXP as well. Just this bonus that they get is just so nice from 2 times EXP that it's worth going for. Also, I forgot to mention this because I completely ignored it. They also get 50% damage boost and 20% bond when clearing any quest. Would have been nice for me if I didn't already have Cha-Cha at bond level 10, and I don't plan to get her 11, 12, 13, 14, 15. Hopefully they eventually release the grown version of Cha-Cha that they have been hinting at through Gouda Gouda or teasing me throughout, including in her, I think, her material list and stuff like that. I'm getting off track. Either way, 2 times EXP, really good. Take advantage of it, especially if you love any one of these units. It will be your best time getting someone to a level 120. You'll never have a better time than during one of those campaigns. I guarantee you fucking that. Some limited time master missions will be here, which will be available from the 11th to the 25th, and then the reward period from them goes up until at least December 2nd. Pretty basic stuff. Either you raise Cha-Cha, Sakamoto, Ryouma, or why do I keep saying his full name? It's because it's really fun to say. Or Nightingale Santa to level 10, get one of them to level 40. Clear a quest with one of them, make sure they're in the front line. Clear 3 quests with them, make sure they're in the front line. Get them to bond level 1, and then clear all pilgrimage festivals to get this. It's a total of, let me see here, 4, 5... No, I think I'm getting the... Give me a sec. Okay, yes, it is 9 Sand Quartz. I had to double check on that because usually it's 10. That's why I was like, am I so tired that I'm getting my math wrong? No, it's right. So make sure to complete all of them to get a total of 9 Sand Quartz. If you already leveled them up or got them to bond level 1, then obviously all those will be filled out for you, and all you need to do is use them in any kind of quest and do it 3 times, and that's simple enough to do, right? It's not that hard. Shouldn't be that difficult. And also, along with the Sand Quartz and the Evocation Leaves and a lore, you'll also get the Pilgrimage Festival 6, which is this nice CE based off of this art, which again doesn't really do much, just other than have really nice, cute art, especially for the season. Well, it's not really the season because it's November, but we're getting close. Everyone knows that Christmas starts sometime around October 30th nowadays. Anyway, some new extra missions that are permanent. Clear Anastasia, clear Gato de Marang, clear Sin, clear Yuga Kishtira, clear Atlantis, and clear Olympus to get 500 evocation leaves. It's basically just Lost Belt 1, 2, 3, 4, 5.1, and 5.2. And you'll get those 500 evocation leaves after you finish. And of course, if you've already finished it, then you get them. And game updates. There'll be new rank up quests for Cha-Cha and Sakamoto Ryouma. Ryouma gets a little bit bonus to his NP, and Cha-Cha gets a little bit bonus to their Golden City Evil, which is really nice because, if I remember correctly, this is their NP charger, which in the older version of this, it was not... It was like 10% here, and then increase NP generation rate, and now it does a little bit more, where it gives them 20% and also increases their buster performance, because Cha-Cha can have a bit of a problem when it comes to power. In the early days, they really tried to... I guess, hamper a lot of Berserkers just because of how Berserker heavy the meta is. It is also funny to think she gets better MP generation rate. Only a single quick card and a single arts card, and there's only 2 hits on those arts and 3 hits on the quick. So, you know, it's better that it actually gives you way more. Oh, it's when taking attacks. Duh, my bad. That's fine. You also don't want her taking attacks in general because she does not have any kind of, like, protection at all. 0 protection on her, which is, not great. Like I said, very old Berserker, very not tanky is not the word, very flimsy like paper. She can die pretty quickly. And Ryouma is single target, so it's just nice to have a little bit more damage on the NP, especially when they have, especially when they're a free NP5. It's really nice. So, doop doop. Now we get to the summoning campaign. So now this is where we talk about the banner, which the duration for this will be November 11th to November 22nd. Banner 1 will feature Demon King Nobunaga. This is a fantastic wiki. The great addition here, wiki. I love this. This makes my job so much easier. Banner 1 is Demon King Nobunaga and Summer Nobu, and included with them in their banner are the CEs Demon King of the Sixth Heaven, A Stroll in the Spring Breeze, and the Flower of High Society. Which is all from the Gouda Gouda that featured Demon King Nobunaga, if I'm remembering correctly. Banner 2 features Sakamoto Ryouma, Lancer, and Okada Izo, with the raid-up CEs also coming from their respective Gouda Gouda, which is Imperial Capital Grail War, the Sakamoto Detective Agency, and the Fang Sharp Shadow Blade. And then Banner 3 features Nightingale and Nursery Rhyme. And their Cs, I believe, are also from, again, the Nightingale Christmas event, which was Maiden's Luncheon, the Deliverers of Sentiment, and With My Family. And the way that the schedule looks like is that Demon King Nobunaga banner starts on the 11th and it goes until the 18th. Sakamoto Ryouma starts on the 13th and it goes until the 20th. And then Nightingale starts on the 15th and goes until the 22nd. And yeah, that's the basicness of it. So I can quickly talk about some things. The banners. Usually I like to save it for a little bit, but I think I can probably include them in all of them just because this is a very short video so far, so I can keep on going for a little bit. For banner 3, Nightingale and Nursery Rhyme, there's no reason to summon on this. I think the only people who would summon on a banner that features Nightingale and Nursery Rhyme are people who love the character so much that they're willing to disregard logic in terms of how good they are, and would like to get them to be love them to such a degree that they would like them to be a grand servant for them, and they need more copies, or they were trying to get them to level 120. That is the only reason anyone would summon on those banners. The only reason. For the 99% of everyone else in the, not even 99%, for the 99.99% of other people who do not fit in that 0.1% category, you do not summon on banner 3. Now I can talk about the other two banners. I'll start with banner 1 because this one's coming up first. For going over Summer Nobu, I can just tell you that they're a very good single target berserker that is anti-divine. Just to tell you very quickly what they do. Extra damage against divine enemies is really nice. They get bonus damage when they're they're able to get the burning battlefield buff when they use their noble phantasm. It's just kind of nice to have a single target berserker. They don't really have any kind of they have evasion, and that's basically it as far as that goes. But because there's a lot of divine enemies, you can usually use Summer Nobu as a good quick pop them in the face and then kind of bust out, especially because they have 3 buster cards as well, so you can go full Buster Gorilla if you want. I've used them kind of like that over the years, where they've been pretty good whenever I see there is for example, a raid that is fighting against a divine enemy. And they are able to be killed by anything, and I don't have the perfect unit that can fit into anything. Summer Nobu's a pretty good, oh, they're anti-divine. I can just kind of hit them in the face and kind of go with that. And I think they're very effective at that. And so it's one of the very few 4-star summer units. Nah, that's probably not true. Don't let me say something that's probably not true. I will say it's one of all the summer units that I have. It's definitely one that I've used a lot over the years, just because randomly I'll go oh hey, this would be very nice against this boss, which is pretty nice. It's what you want out of most summer units. A lot of the time the summer units, you get them because you love the unit themselves and you find ways to use them, but it is nice when they have when they are really good and you can use them in very clear scenarios. It's not like Summer Marie, where I look at my Summer Marie and I go, I really wish there was more ways for me to use you, but there really isn't. Very sad. Demon King Nobunaga. This is a limited servant. Oh, also, if I did not mention, Summer Nobu is limited. Demon King Nobunaga, she is an Avenger, or they are an Avenger, I should say, because this is every single Nobu known to mankind, female, male, or any other, including the real-ass Nobunaga, which is maybe one of my favorite things about this one. But yeah, Avenger Nobunaga. They have a Quick, an Arts, and 3 Buster. 4 hits on Quick, 4 hits on Arts, 6 hits on Buster, and 5 hits on Extra. Their active skills are It's Inevitable, A-, Grand Self Attack Up, which increases every turn for 3 turns, 500% chance to grant self the Burning Battlefield buff for 3 turns, 500% chance to inflict burn unstackable with 1000 damage to self for 3 turns. This is a demerit. The 1-turn attack up is 20%, and then it eventually goes to 70%. And then the second skill is As It Was Written, Dream++, which is a strengthening that we already got. Grant self invincibility for 1 turn, increases own buff removal resistance for 1 turn, and then increases own damage against enemies with the Sky attribute on the burning battlefield for 3 turns. 100% buff removal resistance and 50% to burning versus the Sky damage. This is on a cooldown of 6. Just to make sure I said that correctly. Increase own damage against enemies with the Sky attribute on the burning battlefield. So when you are fighting someone on the burning battlefield and they have Sky attribute, 50% damage more. And just to be clear on their first skill, because I may have said this weirdly too, it's a 1-turn attack up. So it starts at 20% and then it increases to 30%, and then I think on turn 3 it's 70%. If I got that wrong, let me know, because it's if I remember right, I've been wrong about this maybe in the past before, because I unfortunately do not have Demon King Nobunaga. I've never been able to get them, but I'm pretty sure that's how it works. If it's not, please let me know. third skill is the Demon King of the 6-Heaven EX. Demon King of the 6-Heaven EX is gain critical stars every turn for 3 turns, increase own NP gauge, and then increase own buster performance when on the burning battlefield for 3 turns. The star regen is 10, the NP up is 30%, and the burning buster is 30% on the cooldown of 5. Their passive skills are Adventure B-, Oblivion Correction E, and then Self-Replenishing Magic C. Their pen skill is an anti-alter ego attack damage aptitude, which is increased own damage against alter ego enemies. And then their noble phantasm is the Hajuna Henjo, the Sanzen Daisen Tenmao, the Papayas Metamorphosis, the Demon King of the Billionfold Heavens, rank A-, anti-divine, hits 6 times, it's a buster NP, removes all divinity enemies' defensive buffs, this activates first, and then deals damage to all enemies, inflict burn with 1000 damage for 5 turns to them, and then at MP level 1, it's 300% damage, and then if you get them all the way to MP level 5, it's 500%. And the overcharge effect is, at level 1, 150% against divinity enemies, and if you get them all the way to the final charge level, it's 200%. Their Bond CE is Beyond the Eons. Increases the party's buster performance by 15%, increases the party's NP damage by 10%, and then a 500% chance to reduce the party's defense by 10% while self is on the field. And that is Demon King Nobunaga. How are they? They are really good. It's weird because it's taken a while to get them to the status of them being like really good. What I mean by that is that when they first kind of showed up, they were a little bit lacking in terms of damage and some other things, but they've really been able to help them with that a whole bunch. As you can see here, this was eventually added to help out with that, especially, I guess, specifically against Sky Attribute on the Burning Battlefield. Again, something to help with the Burning Battlefield, just more stuff, so they're able to provide Burning Battlefield, so you may as well just make more skills Burning Battlefield related. It's just funny that when this first came out, there was none of that, but eventually they did add it, which is very key, very nice to be added for them. The other thing that they also added for him, which is kind of something that bears in reference, is that we have to go now to an archer, but they created an archer whose sole existence is buffing any Nobu in the game. And that's Oda Nobukatsu, which is also going to be available from the most recent Guda Guda, so if you're worried that like, oh man, I don't have Oda Nobukatsu, or I had no idea that he rolled like that, don't worry, there will be a way for you to get him. But every single one of his skills basically are based around making sure that Nobu gets more bonus damage, or the enemy itself suffers buster resistance, something like that, so that they can take more damage from Nobunaga. Like you can see here, crit damage, star absorption to Nobunaga allies. They have a grant self on death activated buff, which can also increase their defensive NP rate and stuff like that. Able to draw in aggro as well, and then on their Noble Phantasm, it literally increases the buster performance of Nobunaga allies by 20% for 3 turns, charges party's NP gauge except for the self, and then a 500% to sacrifice them, which means you can use this Noble Phantasm, and then also on an increase the party's buster performance for 3 turns, which is of course something Nobu can greatly take advantage of. So you can literally get him in, get him out there, trigger his death buff, and get him out there so you can continue on with everything that you're doing. Very nice big buff for Demon King Nobunaga, no doubt. So I do think that they are a very good unit, but they're also a unit that you probably have to think a little bit more in terms of how to use them to get the maximum potential out of them. But I think that just makes them a lot more fun. But I also think that they would probably still be a pretty solid unit even if you didn't include the Nobukatsu. But just the fact that you have that available to you is pretty nice. I'll say as far as looping goes, they can probably do that perfectly fine, but then you can also really use them if you're in a challenge quest type scenario, because they give them self-invincibility, they can increase own buff removal resistance, which can come in key for a lot of different fights. They're able to give themselves some critical stars every turn. They can remove all divine enemy defensive buffs, so if you're fighting against a very annoying defensive divinity enemy, you can just remove all of them and keep on hurting them with the damage. And like I said, Nobukatsu, if you want to try and implement him into your game plan as well, he does have some buffs that can be useful in a challenge quest type fight with crit damage and star absorption. Hell, even the ability to draw aggro on yourself is pretty nice to have, to be honest with you. Even if you somehow aren't able to use their Noble Phantasm or don't want to use them. Obviously, you want to make sure to use it, though. But if you were in a scenario where you wanted to say, like, actually, I just draw some aggro for a bit and just take damage to the face for the bit, and then when it looks like he's about to die, then launch it and be happy with it that way, that could work out for you. So yeah, really cool unit. This is definitely one of the ones I've always wanted over the years, just because of how fucking sick this is. Like, the idea of, like I said at the beginning when I talked about Demon King Nobunaga being literally every Nobunaga across the universe into a single unit, is fucking killer. Like, all of them are sick. This first one, this is based off of the Nobunaga that we kind of deal with. The second one being a male version of it. Stage 3 being this kick-ass red-headed giant woman version is also fucking sick. Oh my god, just everything about this unit is just oozes fucking cool. Even being the Avenger class, everything about them is so sick. I love it. Paco also did a fantastic job illustrating, designing them, doing everything for them. So I'm a big fan. So it would make sense for me if someone wanted to go for them. The only reason you wouldn't want to go for them is likely you don't have a need for an Avenger. You don't want to bother with how much you need to get the maximum potential out of them. Maybe you're not a big fan of Gouda Gouda. Maybe none of the things I said interest you, or maybe you're just kind of confused and you don't want to deal with them in general. I guess those are all valid reasons to not want a unit. But if you do want them, I think it's pretty cool. Next, and I wish you the best of luck if you go for them. Next, we'll talk about Banner 2, which is going to be Sakamoto Ryouma and Okada Izo. I'll very quickly go over Izo, just similar to what I did Summer Nobu. But the main takeaway from Okada Izo is that you need to know is that he has on his Noble Phantasm, it's anti-man, so he's able to do extra damage to them. And he's also insanely popular. Just crazy levels of popular. I remember hearing someone that when I asked, if you're not summoning on Melusane, tell me what you're looking forward to summoning in the future, and they just straight up said, I'm getting Okada Izo. So for some people, they're going to be summoning on this banner because they don't really care that Ryouma's on it, or maybe they do care, but they're like, if I get him, that's good. They're really here to get for Izo, because you can see Izo is limited, which means it's a big pain in the ass to get coins from him. And if you're someone who is interested in getting him to level 120, maybe potentially down the line get him as a grailed, as your grand servant for Assassin, maybe it's a thing of like, I'm summoning on the banners that feature him because I want to make sure to get him, to make sure I can get him higher to that level and just increase my bowl, and I just love him that much. It's understandable, because like I said, he is a very big fan favorite. They gave this man 2 costumes. Here they are, and then it's not even including the cool costumes that he already fucking has. He has coolness all over him, so it's very understandable for someone to want to go for Izo in any kind of capacity. But yeah, I can tell you that. As far as this goes, he's really good if you're fighting against someone of the Man-Ash root, and he can do a fantastic job kind of taking them down, especially humanoid ones as well, because he can increase the damage against them. He's able to gain some crit stars from what he does, you know, very basic, but very, very effective kind of stuff. You don't need to be fancy with it if you're just able to kill stuff very effectively. And then finally, Sakamoto Ryouma, who is a Lancer, and is also limited. Let's talk about him, shall we? So like I said, he's Lancer, he's limited. He has 1 quick, 2 arts, 2 buster, 5 hits on quick, 4 hits on arts, 4 hits on buster, and 5 hits on extra. His active skills are Dragon of the Reformation A, increases party's arts performance for 3 turns, increases party's critical damage for 3 turns, overcharges party's NP by 1 stage for 1 time, 3 turns, 20% to arts, 30% to crit damage, and then this is on a cooldown of 6. Second skill is the White Orochi of Takashio, A-, and charges his own NP gauge, increases his own buff for removal resistance for 3 turns, grants self debuff immunity for 3 turns, 50% to NP, and 100% buff removal resistance at levels at level 10, and this is on a cooldown of 6. His third skill is Amasakahako Duel B, increases his own arts performance for 3 turns, increases his own buster performance for 3 turns, gain critical stars every turn for 3 turns. At level 10, it's 30% to arts, buster, and 10 star regen, and this is on a cooldown of 6. Its passive skills are Magic Resistance C+, Writing EX, and Shapeshift Orochi A, which is an increase to critical attack chance resistance by 10% and an increase to critical damage by 10%. His third skill is the Anti-Alter Ego Attack Damage Aptitude, which is an increase against own attack against Alter Ego enemies. And finally, we have his Noble Phantasm, which we currently don't have this strengthened version. We have this one. This one likely won't show up for us for another 2 years or so, because I believe it happened on JP in 2025. Yeah, this has been from April 2nd, 2025. We ain't getting it for a bit, so it's better not to look at it. So we'll look at this version. But it's called the Ryo Warasumi no Hara wa Yuki. My dear Go, conquer the oceans of Waratsume. Rank EX, hits 3 times, it's anti-army, and it's an Arts Noble Phantasm. Its effect is increase own defense by 50% for 1 turn, activates first, and then deal damage to all enemies. At MP level 1, it's 450%, and if you get them all the way to MP level 5, it's 750%. And his overcharge effect is an increased own MP damage for 3 turns. This activates first. 100% at level 1, it's 20% MP damage, and if you get him all the way to the final level, it's 40%. And if you want to see what the upgrade looks like, he will have something that increases his own MP generation rate by 20% for 1 turn. This activates first. The increase of damage, and then it also can reduce their NP gauge by 1. With the damage now being at 600% at MP level 1, which I believe is where it was on MP level 2, so it's a big upgrade in terms of damage. His Bond CE is an incident at a certain C when equipped to Ryouma, the Lancer version. Increases party's arbiter performance by 10%, and then increases party's MP generation rate by 10% while he is on the field. And that is Sakamoto Ryouma, the Lancer version. So, how is he? Well, the best way I can put it is that I think he's a perfectly solid unit that doesn't have anything that currently stands out too much, at least in our current version of the game. Maybe it changes a little bit more after we get the grand fights, because his kit is a little bit focused on being kind of a support, and it's kind of nice to have a support unit in the grand fights, because the only units that you can bring in grand fights, like for example to fight the Grand Lancer, is another Lancer. So it is nice to have one that kind of has a little bit of support capabilities that can help buff the team a little bit. So that's nice for him to have. He also does have some nice things like having the ability to give himself debuff immunity for 3 turns just straight up. Usually when they give this to someone, it's like 3 times over 3 turns. They very rarely want to give it to the full 3 turns, and the fact that they gave it to him is really nice. And then he also has buff removal resistance for 3 turns, so if they try and remove this buff from them, if you're fighting against a very challenging foe who's like, oh, we thought about that, here we're just going to remove it from you instead of trying to trigger it from you, because it has resistance from it, it means that it's harder for them to actually get rid of it, which is very nice, very good indeed. And a 50% charger on an arts unit is usually pretty rare from what I remember. Usually they have 30%, but it is nice to have 50% from time to time, because it does also make it a little bit easier if you are a newer player and you don't have to mess around too much with like append skills and stuff like that. But yeah, it probably helps a little bit more. The problem is that he's just kind of like, nothing really pops out too much. He's just kind of very solid at what he does, because he doesn't have really a bonus damage against anyone. It makes it so that he doesn't really stand out as far as damage goes. I've never really had much problem with looping with him. I think he just is able to do a very effective job as long as you're not fighting against someone who deals too much damage. So that means obviously if you are fighting against someone with a high HP threshold, you're going to have a little bit harder time. But with this buff to the MP, it could help him out a good bit, just because his MP1 is now at the same power of an MP level 2er from if you had him in the old version. And then, for example, mine's MP level 1, so he would go from 450% damage to 600, which would be pretty nice. And the increased own MP generation rate as well, which can help against some dudes that you're able to kill, but you're not able to get very much MP generation rate from. So that's very helpful, for sure. I'm not denying any of that. But yeah, the main takeaway here is that he doesn't have anything too flashy. He's just, again, like I said, very solid, very usable. If you like the unit, like for me, example, I like to bust him out whenever there's a Gouda Gouda event and I see there's a bunch of archers. I'm like, oh, that's great, I can use my dude. I'm very happy with that. I wish he had a little bit more. Maybe if they focused a little bit more on his support capabilities and helped him with that. it'd be a little bit better. But the way it goes right now, especially after like Melusane who just passed by, it's like, yeah, if you have an AoE Lancer and you're pretty solid on that, then there's no reason to go for Ryouma unless you really like him or you're looking for an AoE Lancer of some kind and this is the one that you want to kind of land on for this one. Which, yeah, I think that's pretty fair. I think I'm being fair enough to the dude. I want to try and be as fair as I can because, like I said, it is a unit I really like a whole bunch, especially when we get to this final stage with this. I think is awesome. I have a very big weak spot for the Paco servant, so when this one came out, he was immediate like, oh no, I'm getting him as soon as I got him. I love my dude here, and I have never regretted going for him, and I like using him when I can. But again, if you're someone who is planning ahead with knowing it's probably better to be saving for the new year and stuff like that, the reason you would summon on these is because you likely like them a whole bunch, or you're interested in them in some kind of way. Otherwise, you're good to keep saving, and that's, if you want my bottom line here as we get closer to ending the video, I think it's better to save unless you deeply care about one of these units. Like I said, the person who said they were waiting for Izo, this is your time. I wish you the best of luck. I'm not trying to say anything to someone that because I think FGO is a game that is better when you summon for the units that you care about a whole bunch. Like I said beforehand, I just said for Ryouma is like, he's good. Nothing like too crazy special stand out. That didn't stop me from summoning on him. That doesn't stop me from finding ways to use them and stuff like that. It just depends on the person. So if you're an average person, you're saying, is this worth kind of going for? My base answer is usually no. But if you already know deeply enough about these characters that you've experienced them in various stories throughout the years and you're just a huge fan of them, this is obviously your time to go. Because like I said, Izo is like that for a lot of people. And this is a 3-star and there's people willing to skip big 5 stars because they're like, no, my boy is here and I'm going to get my boy. And I respect that. I love that people are like that. And I think it's a great thing about FGO. And with that said, I think it's finally time to end the video. Thank you very much for watching, everyone, especially if you made it this far. Sorry if I got a little bit off topic or I said something off. Like I said, it's the pre-Thanksgiving rush at my work is really bad. I was thinking of making a community post about this just to let everyone know, hey, if the videos slow down or if I'm a little bit tired, it's because my work is about to completely work me before Thanksgiving comes out. Because this is around the time that obviously nobody wants to work on Thanksgiving weekend. And as such, the people that hire us to do stuff would also not like to work by Thanksgiving. So they give us literally everything from every side. So imagine if about like 10 different companies showed up on you and said, we need you to get this done by Thanksgiving or so. And you can kind of imagine that is kind of how my work week is looking. And this is only for the first week. And then the next week, another 10 to 20 who are like, oh, we're really lacking it. Can you finish this off before? Insanity. But yeah, thank you very much for watching. I appreciate it a whole bunch. I'll see you guys in the next video. I wish you the best of luck in your pulls. And if you're not pulling, I wish you the best of luck in enjoying your new free-to-play unit. And I'll see you guys in the next one. Till next time, bye-bye. Peace out.